And we are back. There are many careers that give people an opportunity to help people during a time of personal crisis, but very few that come to the aid of families at their most vulnerable time. Joining us right now is Tabitha Wong, a person very familiar with making career choices. She was a reporter for the World Channel and a flight attendant for Cathay Pacific. She is currently a family service counselor at Skylawn Memorial Park in San Mateo. Tabitha, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Robert.
Well, that's a very wide range of careers. So let's start personally here in terms of what you thought about the other careers that you were in and how you ended up where you did.
So as you mentioned, right before me being at Skylawn, I was a flight attendant for Cathay Pacific. And then right before that, I was a reporter for the World Channel.
You found those rewarding?
I did. Every job brought different aspects into my life. Being a reporter, I really loved it. You know, I loved being in the media. And then by happenstance, actually, I became a flight attendant. I was looking for another job, and I saw an ad, and I applied, and I got that position. Oh. So being a flight attendant actually really helps with my job now, because it's all customer service, and my job has a lot to do with customer service.
Tell us a little bit about being a counselor at Skylawn, and not only what you do, but also maybe some of the misconceptions people might have about what you do.
Well, what I do is I do help families pre-plan for their current or future needs. And like you mentioned, it is the most difficult time in their lives.
I think most people have had experience with counselors at a place like that, and they always tell me that, you know, they really needed that support. It is really a time when it is tough to make decisions,
yes.
And you have to make decisions. You know, you have to be decisive, and yet you don't want to be.
That's right, and that's actually one of the most rewarding things about my job is when families appreciate you for what you do, because I know then that I did a really good job and I exceeded their expectations, if they remember me. Actually, just past this past holiday, I had a family send me a Christmas card. So that was really nice. I was very touched they remembered me over the holidays.
And of course, you are dealing with people who are dealing with death.
Yes.
And so there's a morbid feeling that people might have about being in that kind of atmosphere. Give us an idea here in terms of, as we've been kind of emphasizing, though, it's a reality. And it's a time when people are most vulnerable and in need of that kind of guidance. Is that a rewarding thing to be dealing with?
It is. Even though it is death, it is very rewarding to be helping people through that time. And it is not as morbid as we were speaking of. It's more helping people find peace.
And we're talking with some of our other guests as well about non-traditional careers. Is the profession that you're in one that maybe Asian Americans and a lot of Pacific Islander families you find don't go into it? Maybe culturally they're a little bit apprehensive about it?
I think it is, but actually, nowadays, a lot more Asian Americans are coming into this profession. The stigma is not there as strong as it was before, and the taboo is not there as strong as it was before.
Is there quite a need? Is it good because of the language and, you know,
Absolutely.
cultural awareness and things like that? Would it be good to have more in your industry?
Definitely. Language, we do serve a lot of Asian families, so language is good, and also culture. But even if you're not Asian, you know, it's very easy to learn and apply it to your families.
How did you end up doing what you're doing? You mentioned how you got into the other careers. How did you end up in this one?
Actually, I'm following my mom's footsteps. You know, she's someone I look up to, I admire, and you know, whenever I hear her speaking about how she served her families, I was very proud of that. And here I am following her straight into the industry. And
a lot of industries don't have that much personal satisfaction, do they?
No, they don't, yeah. Not a lot of jobs you can say you help people every day.
What is the toughest part for you?
The toughest part, I think, is when too much emotion. We do have families where, of course, there's no other way to display your emotion when you've lost a loved one. Wow. But for us, we would have to hold their hand and at the same time guide them to make the right decision.
And of course, I would say that you being personally involved, though, is probably a virtue anyway.
Yes.
Tabitha, thank you very much for being here. We appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right. Well, thank you for giving us that kind of insight. And now we are ready to deliberate and discuss the legal profession as a career. We will have some expert counseling from a distinguished Bay Area attorney coming up next.